Recording is on.
Okay, so first, uh, today we are going to talk about the networking part of Docker. So, can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. I can.
Okay, so actually, Docker uses a CNM model, that is a container networking model architecture, to manage the networking. So, in CNM, we have actually three concept. One is sandbox and endpoint, and another part is network. So, sandbox is like it is a single object, means the container that you have created is not going to talk with any other, means it is isolated environment, that is called sandbox. So
Sir, there was a network disconnect. So, can you repeat sandbox once again?
yeah, so sandbox is, whenever we are creating a container, it is created under a sandbox. Okay, so if we haven't exposed the endpoints,
Yes,
it is
yes,
not
got it.
going to talk to the other one. So first one is called sandbox. Okay, means this is the
Mm.
three concepts: sandbox, and another one is endpoint. Endpoint means endpoint that is going to connect to the network, and this is the main network on which we are going to communicate to other containers, or in the different host on that network. Okay, and underlying network is the same, like we have a network infrastructure, and the network driver that we are going to use over here, and IPAM driver. So IPAM driver is IP automatic management, address management. Okay, IP address management. So it is going to give the IP to your containers and endpoints. Okay, and we have the Docker engine that is going to maintain these networking part as well. So CNM uses network driver and IPAM driver, so to communicate to other containers on the same network, on the other network, or different host. It uses, one is called, that is network driver, and another one is IPAM driver. So IPAM driver is IP address management. Okay, it is going to give the IP to the networks and endpoints. So IPAM is going to give IP to these endpoints. Okay, these are the endpoints of containers. So here it is going to connect. So in different drivers, we have the different approach to give the IP address, and how it is going to communicate with the network. So this is the concept, means that is going to do the job actually. Okay, so first we are going to learn about the host driver. So how many drivers we have is actually, one is host, second one is bridge. Okay, third one is overlay, fourth one is MACVLAN, and with MACVLAN we have another one called IPVLAN. Okay, sorry. So I don't know how many drivers we can cover today, but mostly first we will go with the host driver implementation. So host driver implementation is, it is going to use your host network driver. Okay, so let me show you the image for host network driver. So you can see the host network driver implementation. So here on the host we have ETH0. So this is the network card, right? So if you are implementing host network driver, it is going to actually sharing your host net adapter. Okay, so it is not going to create another endpoint, and it is like, open. Okay, so if you have seen over here we have a network sandbox. Okay, but if you are using a host driver, it is not going to give you that sandbox. It is open to all. Okay, so whatever or container is connecting using the host driver, it is open to all, means this container can talk to this container, and it can be accessible from here. So whatever I am saying right now, you might be confused, but I will show you with the demo so you will understand correctly. Okay, so you can say node sandboxes means it is going to share the same network, and there is no sandboxing means it is not isolated, it is going to talk to each other, means this container has the information of the other one. And the main thing is here no two containers can use the same port. Okay, because it is using the same network adapter. Okay, so it is sharing the host network adapter. So if I have a container with the port 80, okay, I cannot use another container with that port 80. Okay, I have to use another port, because you know the whenever is from other side anyone is accessing this host, it is going to go to this container as well. Okay, so this is a very simple implementation, and in a real scenario, sometimes it might require, but I don't think it is much useful, because we have to use the different ports every time, and this is actually exposed to each other, and that we don't want, right? So how we are going to implement it? So I have these commands, and I have already written this command so that you don't have to watch me typing. So I have, okay, let me take this form. So my SOM was logged, so I have just unlocked it, and now I can run the command. Okay, so everything is ready. So already I have created the SOM. So as I said, uh, like to implement overlay we need SOM, but to implement another other one like host and bridge, we it is not require that you can do it on the single host as well as in the SOM. So I am going to do in the SOM. So
Sir,
first, yes.
sir, sorry to interrupt you. So overlay is not a part of is not a type of network, or what? I mean overlay serves as a storage driver as well as a network.
Yeah, it is a network driver actually.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so network driver means the name is same for uh, volume means storage driver and network driver. So name is same overlay, but the implementation is different. So here first what I am going to do is, let me explain you once I will copy. So docker run -d for detach mode, and I'm going to use -f net host. Okay, and again the name is host nginx container, and the image is nginx. So network I am going to use is host. Okay, so it is created. If I do docker ps, oh there are multiple. Okay, so this is 5 seconds ago, so this is our container. Okay, and if I again what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a another container, and then we will check the IP addresses. So this is again using the host driver. Okay, and name is the different, and now I'm using bgbox plus curl image so that I can curl to this nginx container that we have just created, and we're going to sleep for 300 means about hour, I think. Yes. So if I
This
have
three.
given sleep three, these are in the seconds. So it is going to run. Means, if you create a busy box and if you don't give this command, it will just exit. Okay, it is not going to run continuously. So I have given a command that is sleep 300, 3600 seconds. So it is going to run about an hour. Okay, so it will fetch the image. Okay, so now both containers are running. Let me show you. So we have this 10 seconds and it is 1 minute. So these are the two containers on which we are going to work. So now I'm going to check the IP address of ETH0. So if I do IP add, so it is going to give multiple IP addresses. Okay, but I need ETH0, but I think here ETH0 is not present. Okay, you can see there is no ETH0. Actually, the name of the adapter is ENS5. Okay, so let me clear the screen and grab ENS. Let's see what is the output. So here you can see this is the driver or a net adapter that is attached to this host. Okay, 1C. So remember this part. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to show you the IP of the container. So now if I, it's coming with the ETH0 with virtual ID. I need ENS. So you can see here, forget about this one. Just check this. Here I am outputting the IP address of the network adapter that is attached to this host. Okay, and if you can see the IP address, right? And now I am in the BGBox container and again grabbing the same ENS and getting the same output, and IP address you can see, right? It means it is sharing the same network adapter. Okay, any question?
Sarabjit, this ENS5 is the card, adapter card, like the
Yeah,
user
ENS,
ETO.
somewhere it is ETH0, but somewhere it depends upon the distribution, Linux
ENS.
distribution. So if I do ETH0, there are virtual. So you can see ETH0 is not present. Okay. So there is no ETH0 adapter actually. The name is ENS5 over here on this host. Okay,
Okay.
on which I am working. And if I go to the container, you can see that is connected ENS5, and you can see the IP address, the same
Are
IP
same.
address.
Both
That's why
all
we
all
need, we cannot use uh, we cannot conflict with the ports. Okay, because we have the same IP address, right? And
yeah.
now what we are going to use is this command. And if you can see this command, docker execute, and it is going to this container, VGBox container, and it will curl to localhost port 80. Okay, because nginx is running on port 80, but that is on the different container. Okay, but if I do the curl localhost 80, it is going to give a output. See, it is giving the output. Okay, but in the last sessions, when we have learned to, when we created a new nginx container, what we have to do, we have to export the ports. Okay, without that you cannot use that nginx, right? But here I can, you can see here I have just do curl localhost 80 and it is giving us the output. And the main amazing thing you can see, if you are not able to understand with the container, if I do localhost over here, again I am getting the output, but you cannot see any nginx. uh, nginx is running over here. So if I do ps-ef, so actually these are the master processes, and these are the actually the container that is running with nginx. Okay, so there is no, these are worker process, you can see worker process. So these are the uh, container that is running, but not the nginx on my host. Okay, there is no nginx service is running on my host. So you guys understood means how I can do this curl localhost, because those are connected with the host driver, and host driver is open, and it is, if you are using a host driver, it is going to share your same network adapter. Okay, so that's why we are getting this localhost port 80 if I are doing this. So in real scenario, whenever we are creating a nginx, we have to give uh, one flag that is port 80, and I have to map it with the host port, right? Then we can do the localhost colon and then the name of the port, right? But here I haven't do that, but still I am able to reach to this nginx. And if you want to confirm like that is the container, what I will do, I will just delete that container. So this is the VGBox container, but this one is the nginx container that is running, and I am going to delete this container. So command is docker. First I have to stop it. Docker container stop, and docker container remove. Okay, so there is no nginx container, these are the old one. And now if I do curl localhost colon 80, it should not give any output. So you can see could not resolve host. So this is the host driver implementation, means if you are
Sir,
using
it
host driver.
there
Yes.
is there is just spell check localhost spelling was wrong. That is why this
Oh,
message
oh,
came.
sorry, sorry. Okay, still we are not able to
Yeah.
connect, right? Thanks for correcting this. So this is the net host network driver implementation. Here it share the same network adapter. Okay, so this is the eth0 network adapter, and here you can see in the image it is connecting to the eth0. Okay, so container is directly connected to the network adapter that is on host, right? And you cannot get the sandbox uh, in a host network driver. This container is directly, everything is exposed to this container, means you can kind of communicate to these because you are connecting on the same network adapter. Okay, now we have another one, so that is called the bridge driver. Okay, so bridge driver is by default driver, means whenever we are creating a container, it is going to use the bridge driver. Okay, that's why the other container is not able to connect to the different container. Okay, we have to expose it. So here you can see isolated networking means if you want to isolate here, we are going to do the same thing. We want to isolate these three containers with these three and this one. So I we are going to use bridge network in this scenario. So default bridge network is bridge 0 if no network given to the network. So if we are not providing any network configuration while creating the containers, uh, it is going to give you it will connect to the bridge network. Okay, so let me show you bridge network image. So we have ETH0, that is network adapter, and over here we have that Docker 0, that is the bridge. So this bridge network is by default created. Okay, we haven't created this, it is come by default. Okay, so if you are not giving any network driver, it is going to connect to the Docker 0, and here it will create a virtual adapter and it will connect to that adapter to the container. So it is going to create a virtual adapter and it will give it a name. This is called endpoint ETH0. Okay, and it will be in the network sandbox. So it can ping to this container, but uh, you know it cannot communicate like do the curl localhost, those things. You have to expose this port, this container with the port, that only, then only you can communicate. So the thing is, you cannot communicate from here. You can communicate from here, means inside the container. So I can ping this container to this container, this container to this container. But if I try to ping from here on the from the host, okay, it is not going to work. Understood? Let me show you the demo, then you will get a clear picture of this. Okay, so first let me show you. If I do a IPADDR and grab Docker, you can see this one Docker 0. So this is the bridge driver that is created by default. Okay, and actually these are the other ones. But means if you are not creating any bridge, it will connect to Docker 0. But here we are going to create a bridge network. So first I will create a bridge network that is called test bridge. Okay, and a driver that we are going to use is bridge. Okay, so I have already run this command, actually IP link is giving me the same output. Okay, but I have grabbed the Docker 0, so you can see Docker 0 somewhere.
What is the use of this IP link? Why do we want that IP? Does it link the IP?
This will just display the output, the same thing that we have just done using IPADDR. Okay, so here you can see the Docker 0, right? So this is the bridge network. So this is going to do the same. I have used this command IPAM. So this both command is going to do the same thing. It depends upon you which command you want to use. Now I am creating a new network, that is test bridge network. Okay, and driver is bridge. So if I hit enter, and now if I do docker network ls, so this is my bridge network, and here you can see there are other bridge network as well. So it might be created somehow if I have uh might be I was doing some testing or something. Okay, so this is the actually bridge driver that is come by default, and the name is also bridge. And this is the overlay, and the scope you can see in overlay is swarm. Okay, so overlay is only used in the swarm mode, and these are the local. So you know, if you have created a bridge network with the same name on the other host, it doesn't mean that it those container that is running that is attached this network is going to communicate. Okay, means if I have another host, and on that host I have created a bridge network with the same name, but though if you see the scope that is local, means this bridge is only going to work with this host. Okay, it is not going to communicate with the other host if the same name is same. Okay, so it doesn't mean like those can communicate if the name is the same. So this is the scope is, if it is local, then it will work on this host only. Okay, now so we have this bridge network that we have just created. And now again if I do hyperlink, we will see another. I forgot to show you before, but here if I just scroll up, okay, that is actually gone. So I think before that we have this bridge, but when we created there is one more bridge that is getting created over here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a I will create two new containers, and I will connect to those container with the same bridge network. Okay, before that let me delete that another one as well. So I have this BGBox container, so I want to delete it. Docker container, and I want to remove it, so I will use -f flag. Okay, there is no such containers. Okay, those are deleted. So let me create a new one. So here I think one thing is missing, that is image name. So you can see here, if I paste docker run -d -name, so name is bridge nginx container, and network that we are going to use is test bridge netw, so that we have just created. Okay, but uh, that image part is missing actually. I have to give the nginx image. Yeah, so this is the container, and now here I am going to create a new container with BGBox, and I have used -rm. So anyone, any guesses like why this -rm?
Are you renaming
What does it?
then RM? That
No.
means it will remove. RM will remove.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Yes, correct. So, whenever you want to create a container, but you want to delete it once you means this is mostly for the testing purpose. Okay. So here I just want to show you that this container, okay, sorry. So the new container will able to communicate with this nginx container that I want to show, and once that is the output, I want to remove the container. Okay, so this new container bgbox container will be removed once this command is executed. Okay, so if you need a container that is just for testing purpose, you can use a -rm. So this is mostly for the cleaning purpose, means if you just create a container, it will be in the stop state if you don't remove it, right? That's why we mostly use -rm if we are doing any testing. So
So
for
Sarab,
testing, yes.
it will remove the previous container or the new container that is going to be created.
Yeah, the new container. So here this is the new container, and the name is bridge box container. Okay, so this is the box container, or here is the image. So radial slash box plus colon curl. So this container has actually curl already installed on this image. That's why we are using this image. So this will create a container, and then it is going to run this command curl bridge nginx colon uh, underscore con. So this is the name of the nginx container. Here you can see. So it is going to curl this container on port 80. So you will ask me, I am giving here the name of the container. Okay, so how it will resolve? So by default in Docker it has a embedded DNS. Okay, so whenever you create a new container, it create with the name, so you can ping it with the name as well. So that is the embedded container that is going to do the work. Okay,
So whenever
so
we create a container, so we can curl it and by the container name followed by colon and the port number.
yes, you can.
Okay.
You can at least ping with that name as well. Okay, not only curl, you can ping with the means the same thing that we do with the naming convention. Okay,
Yeah.
so you can ping, you can browse whatever you want, you can with the name itself. So if I hit enter, I
Hello,
will get
Sarabjit.
a, yeah, hello, hello Chris.
Yeah, hello, Sarabjit. In that command, Docker run -rm. The
Mhm.
last, the last line, the last say two three words: curl bridge underscore nginx underscore con underscore colon 80.
Yes, yes.
So when we execute that particular line, uh,
Mhm.
after that the container will be removed. Is it like that?
Yes. Once it is executed, the container will be removed. So you can see there is no output any ID. That is,
Okay.
whenever you create a container, there is an ID that is populated after the once it is created. But here you can see there is no ID. So it is just executed this command, and the output of this command you can see over here, and then the container is removed. Okay, so if I do docker ps, you can see there is only nginx container 4 minutes ago, but there is no bgbox container now, right?
Sarabjit, one more question.
Yes.
Can you bring the question to the command? Yeah. Yeah, over here, after specifying the network name, you gave radial busy box plus. So is
Yes,
this a name of a image?
yes, this is the name of the image. This part is the name of image, and we are not going to use the default box. We are actually using Radial. So Radial is a uh, library name here. Okay. So if you go to hub.docker.com, you will find this Radial repository. Okay. So
Right.
this
So
box is created by Radial. Actually, Radial is a, I think a company or a community, I think,
okay,
for
yeah,
Linux. Yeah. Okay. So here I just want to show you that you can curl the means you can access this nginx container from here, the different container. Okay, it means those container are communicating to each other, right? But in the last container that we have created using host driver, we are able to use curl localhost colon 80, right? But now if I do curl localhost colon 80, I cannot do that. Okay, because we have created with the bridge network, and this host cannot communicate with that network. Okay, so if I do this part curl and with the name of the container, so if I use this, still I cannot communicate. Okay, so this is called sandboxing. Means if you are using a bridge driver, you will get a sandbox. Okay, so this container is running in one sandbox and this container is running and another sandbox, but they can communicate because they are on the same bridge network. Okay, so if I the second container that I have created, if I use the different bridge, we are using the same bridge driver, but the name is different, then it cannot communicate. Okay, so let's say I will do the same thing, just I will remove the network part. Okay, and let's see what happens. So if I just remove it from here, I don't want to use this network. Okay, so by default it is going to use the default bridge network. You can see now could not resolve host because it is connecting to the default bridge network, and that is not the that one that is nginx is connecting, right? So it should be on the same network. So if I again give the network, and the network name is this one. So hyphen net is also correct, that is a short form. So now if I do port 80, I'm able to get the output of nginx. Okay, so now here what I have answered is we can create a bridge network, and we are going to connect to these containers on that specific bridge network, and I will create another bridge network, and I will connect these two containers with that bridge network. Okay, and this will be on the overlay because it is going to communicate with the other host. So whenever you want to communicate with the other host, the container on the other host, you need overlay. Without overlay you cannot communicate. Okay,
yes,
but yeah, there is another one, that is MACVLAN, that you can use to communicate to the different host. But that the configuration of MACVLAN is really complicated. Okay, you need a networking hands-on or networking knowledge to do that. Okay, I will explain that part as well. Okay, so just bear with me. And so now you can understand the bridge network. Okay, So if the container is the same bridge network, it can communicate. But if the container is the different bridge network, those containers cannot communicate. Got it?
Yes.
So
Yes,
here
sir.
I, yeah. So do you have any question or you just, so I can say net A, and it's the bridge. So net A, and this one is on net, oh, net B, and this is again the bridge one. Okay, and this will new network, that is overlay, but we will come to this part also. So now I think bridge network is clear. Let's go to the overlay network. Okay, and here is the overlay implementation. So default network for Docker Swarm. So if you are running in a Docker Swarm, default network will be the overlay network. So when we have removed that network part, actually this container is connecting with the overlay network. Okay, and it's transparent to the containers. Okay, and network interfaces, bridge, etc. are automatically configured by this driver on each host. So whenever you are creating a overlay network, it is going to connect to the other host of means other container on the different host. Okay, so let me show you that image. So now you can see we have two host, one is over here and another is one over here. So till now we have only single host, so this is the single host, but now we have two different hosts, and this container is running on host 1 and this one is host 2, but both can communicate. Okay, so when we are creating the overlay network in the swarm, it is going to create these bridges and virtual adapters. Those things are created by this overlay network. Means this bridge network I am not going to create. Okay, this bridge network is created by the overlay network itself. So this is the line that I have mentioned. Means network interfaces, bridge are automatically configured by this driver on each host. So whenever we are creating overlay network, the bridge part, means again it is going to use the bridge, but it will be configured by the overlay network itself. We are not going to create it. Okay, and again if we are adding a new host to that container, to the swarm, it will, the overlay network driver responsibility to create a new bridge or whatever the that it has created on the other host on the next the new host that is just added to the cluster or swarm. Okay, so those responsibility of the overlay network, we are not going to do that. Okay, so what we are going to show you, let me clear the screen once again, and if there is one more, so I have to remove this nginx container once again. Otherwise you will get confused. There are already four containers are running. So docker container, so these command I hope you guys are remember.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, because these commands are getting asked yesterday. So I think Chris joined late. I have discussed offline. Okay, and I will discuss once again. So now I have removed that container. Okay, and now what I will do is I will create a new overlay network. So it is not like you can create only one overlay network, you can create multiple overlay networks. So docker network, and now I am thinking, oh yes, yeah, okay, I think that I have mistaken. Okay, I will explain you. So Docker network, and if I do ls, we have only one overlay network that is created by the swarm itself. Means when we have run that command docker swarm init, at that time this overlay network is created, and the name of this network is ingress. Okay, so whenever you are creating a service, that those containers inside the service is going to use this ingress. Okay, this is the overlay network. So now we are going
So,
to, yes.
Ingress is the default network name.
Yes, this
Or
is the default name of the overlay network when you run that Docker swarm in it. Okay, but we can create a new one. So now I will create this new overlay network. So this is the picture that you can keep in your mind. Okay, to understand the networking, the flow of the data. Okay, like if we have overlay, we need a bridge, and same thing our virtual adapter sum. So but the bridge is configured by the overlay network, we don't create it. So for that okay, so let me run the command over ip link once again, and I'm in 1c. Okay, so I think these are the, okay, if I do apddr. Okay, so we have 1193 24 26. Okay, so remember this number 1234 1234 16 18 22 24. Okay, I will scroll, no problem. So now I'm not going to clear the screen because I have to scroll up once again to show you like there is a new bridge is created. So I am creating a new overlay network. So driver is overlay and network name is test overlay netw. So if I paste this command, okay, and now if I run docker network ls, this is the new overlay network. Okay, and I am on 1c. Okay, and if I do node ls, I have more server like 2c. So let me show you the 2c. Where is 2c? Where is 2c? Okay, I have closed, no problem. So this is the 2c. Okay, this is 1c and this is 2c. And if I log into this 2c, now if I do docker network ls, can you see that overlay network over here? No, right? We have one overlay network and the scope is swarm, but still I cannot see the network over here. And same goes with the 3c. So if you want, I will show you. Let's skip that part. So now when I will create a service, okay, because in swarm I have to create a service, right? So when I will create a service and the container is deployed on this worker node, that overlay network will be automatically configured. Okay, but till now there is no container running on that network. That's why there is no overlay network that we have created just now. Okay, that is not shown over here. So once I will create a service, you can see the network over here. So before that I will run the command once again, ipaddr or ip link, whatever. And if I scroll up over a little bit, you can see we have 26 and then 1193. Okay, remember this thing, 26 and then 1193. But now here you can see we have 26, but we have also 1908, 109, 1910, 1111. Okay, there are other, right? So these are created when we have created a new overlay network. Okay, and these are the actually the adapters, veth. Whenever you can see veth, it means these are the virtual adapters. Okay, and this one br that start with br is called the bridge. So if I scroll up, so the docker 0 default one, and docker gateway bridge that I think I have created in the somehow. Okay, these are the loop back. So these are the adapters that is created when we run that overlay command to create a overlay network. So now what I will do is I will create a service. Okay, and I think there is no replica. Okay, no issues. I will create a service, and if I you guys can see, actually I cannot, I don't want to clear the screen because I have to scroll up once again. So you can see here at the bottom I have this command docker service create, and name of the service is overlay nginx container, and a network that I want to use is test overlay netw that I have just created, and the image name is nginx. Okay, and there is no replica, so it will create only one container. Okay, so it is running, and it will just verify and everything is good. Now again I will create a service, and this time I am going to use this busybox plus curl image. Okay, and let me just copy this one. So you will get an output. So once, so you cannot whenever you are creating a service, you cannot see the output on the console. You have to use the service log command to get the output. So if I do docker service logs and then the name of the container, sorry,
So, Sarab, if
yes,
it's like after giving the container name like radial busy box curl,
Hmm.
you type shell sh,
Yes, yes,
then hyphen c. So
yes.
in this hyphen c is a comment or what? I mean,
This is
or
the
to
hyphen
execute
command.
command. Okay,
Yeah, so this
curl.
command I'm going to, when you have a complex command, you have to use this sh hyphen c, because
Okay,
I am using this.
combining
And
two
yes,
command.
I'm combining uh, two commands. That's why I have to use this. Otherwise, I can use this part as well without sh hyphen c. Okay. So now I am just checking the log of the overlay, and you can see the output. Welcome to nginx. So this is the output of the command. Okay, so it means we are able to communicate with that different service. Okay, two different service. But here now you can see Here there is no overlay network, but now the network is there because that the service, the container that we have just created. Meanwhile, we have created the single container. There is no replica, so it is not going to create on the master. It has created on over here. So if I do docker ps, you will see, you can see this 2 minutes ago. So I have just created this nginx over here. So when the container will created using the service, and that service is using a new overlay container, sorry, overlay network that is not there on the node, it will automatically configured. So by default, if there is no container running and you have just created a new network, you cannot see on the other nodes. Okay, it will only create if it is needed. Okay, so it doesn't mean like
So Sarabjit,
if I remove it, it will gone. No, once it is created, then it will be there.
so Sarabjit, like
Yes,
you created the service in 1C or in 2C?
I have created over here.
In 1C, right? So the Swarm decided uh, that in which node the container should reside, right?
Yes, yes. So Docker has
So
decided to
according,
run on the worker node.
yeah,
So 2C is the second one, and there is 3C as well. But if I use that replica, then yeah, that will create on the third one as well.
uh,
Okay.
um, yeah, got that. See, my question is, see
Mhm.
this network, the new network which we created. So that network will evenly distributed among all the nodes which we have in our Docker store, or only on the master and on the node on which the container resides.
On the on which you have created this network, and on it will be created if there is a container running on that network. Okay, so 2C, when we have started a service, it is started on the 2C. That's why we can see a new overlay network over here. But if I go to 3C and
Mm,
do the same command, docker network ls, so it has
yes.
created over here as well. And why? I think because when we have created the third one, this service, okay, this service, I will, if I do the docker ps, you can see the box is running over here. You can see. So because this box is also on the same overlay network, right? We have used the same overlay network. That's why, and that is created on the 3C. If that container is created on 2C as well, then you cannot see this overlay network over here. Got
So
it?
necessarily, yeah. So necessarily, what I understood is,
Mhm.
whenever we create a network, say in this scenario, we created a network in 1C. So
Mhm.
that network will be there in 1C as well as in the node on which the container is running,
Yes,
irrespective of the number of nodes or number of hosts we have in a particular swarm, right?
yes, yes. So once the container is created on that network, then you can just then it will be reflected on the node. Otherwise, it will not show. Means you cannot see that network.
Yeah.
So once the container is running using that network, then it will create it. Actually, it will create it one automatically when any container is running. So the same thing happen in the volume part as well. Okay, but unfortunately, I was not able to show you the demo of an volume cluster volume. But yeah, definitely I will show you those demos sometimes in future. So this is the overlay network. Okay, and again, overlay network is like, this who container, this container, like, when we create an overlay network, it actually create a tunnel between these two hosts. Okay, so this container actually, it doesn't know like it is running on the different host. Okay, it seems transparent to these containers. Okay, the container seems like, the container thinking it is running on the same host, but actually it is not running on the same host. But for when we create a overlay network, for containers it is transparent. Okay, because this container does not have any knowledge about the underlying networking means like router, and the data is going with down with using router or other networking is things. Okay, it just assume like this container, other container is running on the same host. So actually it is the overlay network create a vx tunnel, that is called vx tunnel. Okay, so just remember those uh, means this is for the interview, like vx tunnel and those things you can say. And here you can transparent to the containers. So transparent to the container means the same that I have just explained, means the one, this container doesn't have any information that the other container is running on the different host. Okay, it seems like it those containers are running to each other. Okay, so now that is done, what we can do, so yes, if we go to the fourth one, that is MACVLAN driver. So why we need this MACVLAN? So mostly, I think I have created Mac. Yes, I have created the image. So MACVLAN is like we have a physical network, and this is the network adapter on the host. Okay, and there is no bridge concept. Okay, just remember that part. In MACVLAN, there is no bridge concept. It is going to share the same, again saying the same network adapter with the subnet IP. Okay, so here you can see it does not use bridge. Instead, container interface directly connect to the host interface, uh, in the same way we have created the host network. Okay, but we have the isolation with the IP, because whenever we are creating a MACVLAN network, we have to give a subnet and IP. Okay, IP to the these containers. So it is using the same network adapter, but you can see the IP address is different. IP address is dot 2 and dot 3. So whatever we have created, it depends upon us. Like when we are creating a MACVLAN network, we have to give the subnet, right? So remember the subnet part. You have to give the subnet. And main thing is harder to configure and participate in existing network setup. So mostly we have to use this MACVLAN, because if this overlay network is only work in the same network, means this host 1 and host 2 should at least communicate to each other. Okay, then only you can use the overlay. But in MACVLAN, MACVLAN is mostly used with the, like we have a on-premises configuration, right? And we are creating a new cluster with the Kubernetes and any Docker or something. So in that case, we already have a network, and we want to participate. Like in my scenario, I have some web applications that is running as a container, but these DB servers are running on my old physical network, right? So in that case, how I will communicate with that? Because web application needs the access to the DB database, DB servers. Okay, in that case we need this MACVLAN, and we have to communicate with MACVLAN. So we have to give the subnet mask. Okay, so VLAN of the same network, So if the DB is in the different subnet, you have to give this the same subnet of the DB servers. So it will get the IP address of the in the same VLAN. So it can this container can communicate to the DB. So here, I don't have that physical servers. That's why I cannot show you that demo. But one more thing is this promiscuous mode. Actually, I don't know. I have pronounces it really confusing here. Chris, what we should
Promiscuous. Yeah, yeah. It's
pros-
good.
promiscuous mode? I think we say it promiscuous mode. So
Yeah,
this
that's right.
mode is not enabled by default, because for MACVLAN we need this mode must be enabled on the adapter. Okay, but in like we have a Azure or some different uh, public cloud. In that case, we do those this promiscuous mode is not enabled. Okay, and they don't recommend to enable it. That's why we have another one that is called IPVLAN. Okay.
So basically, what is this promiscuous? Is it like promising or
Yeah, that's I cannot tell you what
okay?
is
No
this.
problem. No problem.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll
Uh,
see.
you can do the Google. I think if you just see the meaning, you will able to understand. Alright. Okay. Demonstrating or applying an unselective approach or in a casual. So if I do mode, you will get the answer. In computer networking, Promiscuous mode is a mode for a wired network interface controller NIC card, okay, and for the wireless as well. That causes the container to pass all traffic it received to the central processing unit, rather than passing only the frames that the controller is specifically. So this is actually networking part. I should understood, but I cannot explain what is the meaning of these
No,
frames.
no,
Okay. So
no
any
problem.
networking I can tell you much better than me.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So just remember that the term that is I don't want to pronounce it. So for this, in Mac VLAN actually these let me open it once again. So these adapter got a different Mac. Okay. So this adapter has the different Mac. This adapter has a different Mac. Okay. And
I think we have a disconnect.
Hello.
Hello, mic check 1 2 3. सर
सारा
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया.
आवाज गया डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए
पिंग करना उसको.
पिंग तो मैं करूंगा
it's not
आया.
good.
सरबजीत
बैक
Yes, yes.
डिस्कनेक्ट.
Actually, I got a call, so my network got disconnected. So now you are
ओके.
able to hear me,
या
यस.
and you can see my screen as well.
यस
Yeah. So what I was saying is in Mac VLAN, actually you got a different MAC address to these adapters. Okay, these two adapters, and but it is only for the Linux. If it is in on Windows, then no. These adapters got the different IP, but the same MAC. Okay, so in Windows, we get the same IP, different IP, but the same MAC address. In Linux, we got a different MAC address as well as different IP. And the Second one is that is next one is IPVLAN. In IPVLAN, actually you can use IPVLAN because that is this mode is not needed for IPVLAN, so you can use that IPVLAN. And in IPVLAN, if it is Linux or Windows, that doesn't matter. It is going to give you a same MAC address to both the adapter, and but the IP will be the different. Okay, and the main thing I cannot show you in as a demo because I don't have the that much of setup or lab. So you have to just remember that we have a mic VLAN that is used to communicate with the existing network, or it participate in the existing network. So if you want to connect, like you have some on-premises network already configured, and you just created some container, you want to replace the web servers as a container, then yes, you have to use the Mac VLAN, and uh, then you can communicate with your on-premises
Yes.
on-premises network. And
MACVLAN is basically used, I mean, for the private subnet.
yes, yes,
Yeah, because since
yes.
they are using subnet and subnet defines separate IPs. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So we have to give the same, we have DB server that is running on a subnet. So you have, whenever you want a web application to communicate uh, with that DB, then you have to create a MAC VLAN with that subnet that is DB is using, right? Then only you can communicate with this container to the DB. Okay.
Okay.
Just we have another one that is IPVLAN, because this for Mac VLAN this mode must be enabled, but IPVLAN it is not required, so you can use the IPVLAN. And the last one is called non driver. Okay, so this is isolated, means if you are using a non driver, you cannot communicate to other containers. Okay, it is just a standalone. Okay, it doesn't know anything on the host there is another container or not or something. It is just it's you can just isolated. You want a container that is isolated from your network, is that net container should not be accessible from outside. You just want to, if you want to access it, you have to use that execute command. Okay, docker execute and the name of the container. Okay, so that is the way that you can just communicate with the container that is using a non driver. Okay, so we have actually that non driver, but just remember that we have non driver, otherwise I don't think that is used in real scenarios. Password is incorrect. So if I do docker network ls, there is this network, you can see name is none and driver is null. Okay, so if I create a container with this name, I cannot access it from outside. Okay, I have to use docker execute. So that's finish end of the networking part. And I know it is little bit faster, but just remember the name, what are the types of network drivers. Okay, and how it communicates. So I will share these images with you guys in a while, so you can just go through it once again and you will remember the concepts. Okay.
Hello, Sarabjit.
Yes, yes.
Sarabjit, I just wanted to ask you one question.
Mm-hmm.
This when we used to communicate between when we use the communication between two hosts, that time we use the overlay driver, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and both the host should have relationship. That is, one should be a worker and one should be a parent, like that.
Yes, means if in the swarm, it must have the same subnet and on the same network, right? That's that. Then only you can create a swarm because those two hosts should be communicate must communicate to each other.
Oh, so suppose I have a different host A, and I have a host B, and SOM is not installed on both of in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So that time in host A, I create a network, an overlay driver, and in host B
No,
also I create one overlay driver. So that time communication is not possible.
no. Actually, if the swarm is not enabled, then you
Ah,
cannot use the overlay network. Okay,
overlay driver. Okay.
swarm must be enabled because it work in only in swarm mode.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
If for others you can use the bridge network, okay, but for two host you need overlay network.
Overlay
And
network
again,
and SOM
if
should
you
be.
have on host two, you if you have a VMs, let's
Ah,
assume you have a VM, not a container, okay, and
yeah.
you want to connect with that VM, then you can use the MACVLAN or IPVLAN.
Suppose both are VMs, so
Yes.
then we use MacVLAN. Okay.
Yes, so on host 2, I have multiple virtual machines that is running, but on
Hmm.
host A, I have only a container. So here, if I create a overlay network, that is not going to work because overlay network is only work with the containers.
Oh,
Okay.
continuous. Hmm.
Yes. So if you have a on host 2 virtual machines, then you have to use the MACVLAN. Okay, MACVLAN or IPVLAN, whatever you want. Most probably you are going to use the IPVLAN because of the restriction of MACVLAN. Okay,
Hmm. Okay.
but yeah, it depends upon your infrastructure how they have configured. But just remember the concepts. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh,
Okay, so here we can wrap up this session. Okay, and I will
Okay, sir.
just stop the recording